Well, I guess it's live. Whoa. I guess it is live. Oh, it is live. It is live. Let's go live on all of it. Let's do it. I'm going to go live on all of it right now. Bam. Welcome. Hello. I can see it. We're going to switch. Hello. Welcome to the Monday morning to-do list on Wednesday afternoon. That's the plan. I'm going to start doing my Monday morning to-do lists on Wednesday afternoons, or sometimes Thursdays, Fridays, whenever I get to them. So I'll wake up every Monday morning with that in mind. Let me get a better look at this right here. There we go. Okay, I can see the shot. All right, that's the main thing is that I'm at least doing one. Because your to-do list, you start out with it, and then you push off things anyway. The thing about a to-do list I've found is that when I write down all the things that I need to do, I only really do a few of them, and then I move some of them over to the next list. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. Anyway, it's all kinds of issues. But I have my list right here. This is my Monday morning to-do list on Wednesday afternoon. So let's get into it. May as well play the theme song. Damn, that's a different kind of theme song. With the music, let me start by saying my Monday morning to-do list was attacked, actually, initially, Sunday. Because I knew I had some of it coming, and I tried to get some of it done Sunday. So then I felt like, oh, well, I'm ahead of the game a little bit here. So I'm good. I can do some stuff. I can do some stuff for me on Monday. And then that bled into Tuesday and Wednesday, and here we are Wednesday afternoon. I haven't even attacked a lot of this stuff. So if you're like me, your Monday morning to-do list is still just as big as it ever was, and maybe even bigger now, because other people want to give you more things. So let's get into it. Number one, my fence between my neighbor's house and my house. I need my fence between my neighbor's house and my house, not because of him, but because of my dog. I have a Great Pyrenees, which I don't know if you know what a Great Pyrenees is, but it's a livestock guardian dog. They're big and they're white and they're fluffy, and honestly, they're pretty dumb. In a cute way, in a good way. You know, they're not terrible stupid. They're just if you tell them to do something, they stand there and stare at you. And they also don't have what's called recall. I guess one of the big issues with certain kinds of livestock guardians is they don't really care that you want them to come to you. They don't have recall, which it's a nice way of saying they don't give a shit. So we've been trying to train this dog, and it's actually working out pretty well. I'm enjoying her company, but the problem is my neighbor, he comes and visits every once in a while, and he's got this yard that he's allowed us to take the fence down when we were fixing the old fence, and we left it open. The dogs run around the yard, but when he's here, she goes over and stands and barks at him, and I don't think that's very nice. So I have decided to start building my fence. So I built this little fence, and then as you build a fence, you start to think, I want this fence to be the coolest fence that was ever built. And so you start designing new things you want to do with the fence, and if there's a timeline. Anyway, I knew he was coming, and my neighbor was coming down, and I didn't know when exactly. And then I texted him today, hey, what day are you coming down? He said today at 9 p.m. So I was like, oh my God. So that's on my list. So Monday morning to-do list includes fence between my neighbor's house and mine, which I've done some of. The other one is this really weird situation. If you ever needed firewood, then you know this experience where you're like, I want some firewood. And it's at that point, it's usually December. And you're like, we're going to get firewood. We're going to have fires in the fireplace. It's going to be fantastic. This is going to be the best winter. We're going to have a great Christmas. We're going to sit by firelight with marshmallows and cocoa, and we're going to read books, and everybody's going to love each other more because of the fireplace. And as a parent, that's what you're shooting for. You want everybody to love each other more, because then that translates to kids doing what you say, and your whole life gets easier from there. If you're a parent, then you know this part too. That's just never going to happen. None of these things you expect are going to unfold the way you think. So I thought firewood was the answer to everything. And so I started hyper focusing on firewood. I bought some firewood that wasn't dry enough, and that became an issue because it smoked up the house. And my wife is like, "I think I'm allergic to fire," and so now we can't have fires in the house unless I have a big conversation with her about trying it again. And so then we started dealing with that, and really, and then I was like, well, it's just because the fire, the flue was this and that, and then the circulation of anyway. I didn't even look it up. I just started saying words. And as a result, I ended up alienating the whole fire idea, or alienating my wife from the fire idea, and then making it harder. So the fire dried out, the firewood dried out rather, and then I started burning it. And then burning in the yard, and then that became an issue. And then s'mores. That's the answer. You say the word s'mores, suddenly everybody's on board. My wife's like, all right, the kids love s'mores. So then we started having, hey, we're going to have s'mores tonight. And I didn't say I was having a fire. I said, we're having s'mores. But really, I just wanted to have a fire in the yard and not have everybody yell at me because I'm trying to make people happy and make them like each other more. So you can't get mad at me. So s'mores is the answer. So s'mores was my little trick. And then, then the kids eat the s'mores, and then they get super hyper sugared up, and then they hate each other, and then they argue and fight, and they're not, and then, and by the way, that never happens right when you think. So you never think, you always think you're going to have a fire at 6, then you have it at 8, and then the s'mores happen at 9. Everybody's got bedtime in 10 minutes, and they're all like amped up on chocolate and marshmallows. And then your wife says, not only am I allergic to fire, now I'm allergic to your schedule. You got the kids sugared up at 9:30, and it's bedtime, and now I'm in trouble again. Because of the fire. And it all started with firewood. So the firewood focus is still in my head. So I see this firewood by the side of the road. This is a big deal. And in Georgia, you see a tree that's been felled or fallen by someone, felled. And it's chopped, but it's not chopped. It's cut, but it's not chopped or split. And then you knock on the door. Any idea what you're doing with that wood? And well, my neighbor said he wanted some. That don't get some. And that neighbor said he wanted some, but they ain't. That's been 2 months, and I don't know if they're ever gonna come get it. And so I don't know. You want it? And the answer is yes. That's why I knocked. So anyway, I did that. I knocked on a door. I got the answer I wanted, but it was a weird one. The guy comes running out. And he goes, "I know you," and I'm like, "Oh. What? And he goes, yeah, I go to your comedy shows, the Barefoot comedy shows. I go to those. And your daughter rides horses with my wife." And I'm like, whoa, really? And then we became friends. We became fast friends because he likes me. And I like people that like me. And I like him. And his name was Buddy, and is Buddy still. And so he's all about it. He's like me. He gets like hyper focused on ideas. So I think he thought he was going to save his family with firewood too. So he had this pile of wood there, and he goes, "Yeah, we're going to chop it up. We're going to do this, that, and the other." So we get over there, and I'm mauling wood, and he's got a splitter going, and we processed all kinds of wood and brought it back here. And then we had so much fun doing it. We stored so much wood, and I'm like, I think I'm going to burn through this wood pretty fast while I'm fixing my family. This is going to be great. My family's going to get super happy and loving, and then I'm going to run out of wood, and they're going to hate each other again. I better get more wood. How about you call that tree service that and see if he'll drop more logs in your yard? So that's what he did. And so now we have more logs. And so it's going on 4 weeks, maybe 5. And every week we spend hours chopping wood and trying to process it and cut it, split it. Sometimes it's too wet and stringy, and you're trying to split these giant burly logs. I'm buying chainsaw blades or chains, new chains. We're going through gallons of mixed gas, and we're spending a lot of time away from our families in his yard, chopping wood, so that we can have firewood, so that it can dry out, and then we can make our family love each other. And save our families. So on my to-do list is process more wood in his yard that we have that's sitting there. We chopped it. We diced it. It was insane how much wood we had. So I recommend that if you get hyper-focused on firewood to save your family, that you give yourself a cutoff. I just need this much, and that's it. Because I've got lots more wood than I need, but I still have this need to get more wood. I feel like I feel like I'm staving off the wolf at the door, and the wolf at the door is conflict among my family members. And I don't know when that's going to change in my head. I can intellectually see that it's wrong, but I can't just change it. So that's on the do part of my to-do list, which I have a do part, and then I have a get part. So I got to get athletic tape. Now, I've been in here doing podcasts all day, and I haven't gone to get my athletic tape, which means I still have mat burn on my toe. So when I go train, I'm going to have a big hole in my toe, and I'm going to ask somebody if they have athletic tape, and they're going to be like, yes, Collin, I do. Just like yesterday and the day before and last year, all year, when you asked me, do I have athletic tape that you can use? Do you know that they sell it? So I'm the guy who just never gets the one little thing he needs and just keeps borrowing it, which is so dumb. Big things I don't do that with. If it's a tool, I borrow your tool, a Sawzall or something. 2 times, that's it. 3 times, definitely. Got to buy one. Lee Perrin's Worcestershire sauce is on my get list, on my to-do list for getting things. Worcestershire sauce. Now, I don't know what it is with kids. My children are not connoisseurs of anything. My son will eat goldfish all day long and all night long and nothing else and be like, I'm fine. And I'll be like, no, you're not. Something's wrong with you if that's normal nutrition. You got to eat other things. And I'm trying to help him, like, whatever. So he's not a connoisseur by any means of anything. He'll eat just garbage food and he doesn't care. But if I put like a Whole Foods brand 365 Worcestershire sauce on a steak and go to give it to him and he doesn't see me do it, he'll taste it and go, This isn't Worcestershire sauce, because it's just slightly different than the Lee Perrin's, which is the one that we've been using since we were little kids, which is, I guess, the Kleenex of Worcestershire sauce. Meaning you don't say tissue, you say Kleenex. You don't say Worcestershire sauce. You don't say Lee Perrin's, but it's always Lee Perrin's. So Worcestershire sauce. So we got to get the Lee Perrin's because I got the wrong kind and everybody got pissed. These people that don't know the finer flavors of fine foods and they're like, ew, yuck, and they don't like certain things. They can't stand the slightest change in their Worcestershire sauce. A1 sauce is the same way. Don't get steak sauce. Don't get random steak sauce. Your family then hates each other again, and it doesn't matter how much firewood you got. So I got to go get real A1 sauce to put with my fake A1 sauce and my fake Worcestershire sauce. And I don't want to throw it away because it's a resource issue. And I feel like there's people starving somewhere that would drink that steak sauce and live. And I don't want to send it to them in the mail because then it's going to be bad when it gets there. So I got to have 4 bottles of steak sauce and Worcestershire sauce in one thing. And then my wife goes, the refrigerator's a mess. We need to clean that out and organize it. What's with all these Worcestershire sauces? I'll say, well, I'm trying to save the family and the world, but you don't care. Mealworms for my chickens. My chickens have decided that if I don't give them mealworms every single day, that they're going to stand there and balk at the highest volume possible. And then eventually the neighbors are going to come and the neighbors are going to have some issues they want to talk about. And one of them will be the sound of my chickens. The chickens know this. I don't know how they know this because they're just on the other side of the fence from these other people. They don't know the other people. They don't know that there's rules. They don't know rules. They're chickens. They know their own rules because they have their little pecking order. But I'm at the bottom of the pecking order currently because when I walk in, they peck the living crap out of me because they want their worms. So I throw them these dried mealworms and they love them. But if I don't do it one morning, it's on, man. They'll sit out there while I'm doing a podcast, while I'm in here doing stuff, and you'll hear them in the background. And they just stand there and yell. And they take turns because it's only one at a time, 1 or 2. And that's it. There's a bunch of them in there, and there's like only 1 or 2 balking, and it's constant. That means they're taking turns. That means chickens are not only smarter than you think, they're vindictive, and they're manipulative, and they're chickens. So, and then scheduling. I have to sit down and schedule. I had a conversation with my good friend Jimmy today, and I have to now do what I suggested to him. Because when you give somebody advice, the issue with the advice is that you don't probably take it yourself. You give them advice and you think, I should live my life that way too. But then you don't. And so you watch them and then you see them in a week. Yeah, hey, are you keeping that to-do list schedule? And then they go, oh, and they feel bad about themselves. They're like, not really, I kind of. And then they get mealy mouthed. And then you go, oh, well, and then it's all weird between you. But then you never did it either. So what are you talking about? Why are you judging them? So, what I suggested to him, which I think we should all do, all of you, all of me, all of us, sit down once a week and spend an hour going through not only your to-do list, but like all your big dreams and goals, all these things, and then sit down and sort out how much time you're going to give each one based on priority, and then take a stab at it. If you miss it, oh well, you're going to redo it again next week. Don't get bummed. Don't waste your time absorbed in guilt and thoughts like that, because you have other things drawing your attention. Mainly, keeping your family loving each other. So what does that mean? That means firewood. Well, it does. So I think we've covered it all. That's my Monday morning to-do list. I didn't change my angle back. There, I should be straight on with you. I was talking into that camera the whole time. I do want to say thank you for all your support with Post Roll Podcast. Go to postrollpodcast.podbean.com or just go to postrollpodcast.com and catch our thing, or go to Jiu-Jitsu Pilgrim on Facebook and watch our live stream. I'm going to start doing these on the regular. And if you're a fan of Timothy, Tybee Timothy, who's my, he's the code enforcement. He's from Tybee Code Enforcement, which is code enforcement on the island that I live right here by. And so he's incredibly vigilant, and he's a great character, and he's coming back. He was on a silent retreat for many months, and so now he's back. He's going to talk about that a little, and you'll start seeing him on Instagram. But every week we're going to do the to-do list. Send me in the comments, whatever. Send me things that are on your to-do list. We'll talk about them, and then tomorrow morning, if you watch on Jiu-Jitsu Pilgrim, I'll be live streaming with my friend Mark Waller. Mark Waller's a great guy. He's a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu like me, long-term purple belt, kind of just sort of floundering in the purple belt arena, trying not to die doing Jiu-Jitsu, and feeling like we're getting our asses handed to us on the regular, and having to take that next step of technique, engaging with technique. But you don't care about all that. Watch Post Roll Podcast and hang out with me and Mark Waller. Mark is a guy, I think it'll be interesting because he donates his time. He does what I do. So this is why the to-do list is so gnarly, is because he does what I do, where he's like, somebody will say, oh, if I could get some help, man, doing this thing. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll help you. And then I'm doing that. Now it's on my to-do list. And how am I going to get firewood to keep my family loving each other if I'm doing these other things that I'm overcommitting to? Meanwhile, my wife's allergic to fire and marshmallows. That's it. That's all I want to tell you. See you later, alligators.